What's up guys, SkyKevin here, and today we're going over the sword and shield for New World. We're going to go into each of the skills, its abilities, and fighting styles associated with the weapon. So, let's get started. The sword and shield is an interesting weapon because it actually incorporates two pieces of gear on your main hand and offhand. When having a shield equipped, the stats of the shield will only matter if you have the sword in your hand with your weapon out. So even if it's equipped, if your sword is sheathed, you won't benefit from the extra stats associated with it. This is important to keep in mind because if you do want to run a shield and sword, chances are you'll have to worry about the armor weight of the shield that adds to your total, especially if you're trying to wear a light armor build. If you use any other weapon, just remember that a shield is a completely unnecessary burden unless you're using the longsword. As for the mastery tree, there's the frontline attacker and defender. Reverse stab acts as a finisher move as the animation plants you in place to deal good damage, has grit, and reduces cooldowns on a successful hit. Whirling blade just sends a spinning blade strike out to enemies in an AoE and causes a 5% armor reduction, and the cooldown is reduced when fighting 10% for each enemy you hit with it. Leaping strike is a chase move that deals extra damage to low HP enemies, and if it hits them in the back, causes an 8-second slow. Shield bash stuns, damages, and taunts enemies, which is very useful in PvP. Shield rush moves your character 5 meters forwards and adds a 10% damage reduction effect to the enemy, as well as a 30% movement speed slow for 4 seconds. Lastly, the defiant stance ability reduces incoming damage by 30% and 50% if you're under half HP, and will heal you at the end of its duration for another 15% of your max HP. The two ultimates are Leadership, which passively increases your group's damage by 10% whenever your sword is out, and Defensive Formation, which reduces the damage on all your allies within 2 meters by 30% while you're blocking. As for your passives, you have a 10% critical strike increase, 33% movement speed while blocking, 10% more damage to slowed foes, 15% more damage at full HP, 30% more damage after a heavy attack, a full debuff cleanse on a heavy attack, 10% increased damage after a block, 20% haste after a critical hit, 20% slow on your third light attack, 15% additional physical armor, 10% additional magic armor, 1% cooldown reduction on skills every block with your shield, 15% damage buff and taunt on your third light attack, 15% less stamina loss when blocking melee attacks, 10% armor increase buff on a successful block, 10% max HP, and 10% for any healing and regeneration, and 15% less stamina loss when blocking ranged attacks. The sword's damage scales off of strength and dexterity, but since the shield is an added bonus, I've often seen this paired with the life staff to give players a paladin feeling, as they're able to spec into a moderate amount of healing, but still use the tank abilities to function in a fight. Otherwise, a sword and shield isn't a totally popular option since it lacks a lot of mobility and really only one reliable stun. For this reason, I rarely see anyone using skills from the Swordmaster tree, and most, if they are going sword and shield, focus on the defensive capabilities. This is pretty much since every other class can dish out more damage instead. It would be interesting to see though, if there was a good offensive build to go with this weapon type, specifically with the amount of movement slows that the sword has. As we reach higher tiers of gear as well, having that extra shield can be a bonus for the number of additional attributes and stats you might garner from having the shield as an extra piece of equipment. If you're going to be using a sword and shield, let me know what kind of builds you're planning to use with it in the comments down below. I always make sure I go through and answer everyone's questions. I'm making more videos like this one on New World and other MMOs, so don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.